there are subtle indicators that reveal when a fish might be stressed and susceptible to disease. For instance, by observing how a fish gill is performing, a biologist learns about water quality. Restricted passages could indicate polluted water. There are bacterial and viral fish diseases that attack the internal organs. By periodically examining a sample of hatchery fish, the disease can often be detected and controlled before it breaks out. Monitoring hatchery fish doesn't end with their release into the river. On the contrary, the monitoring and evaluating work really just begins with their release. Evaluating hatchery and wild fish through their complete life cycle is critically important for effective coast-wide salmon management. A very efficient and cost-effective way to mark fish and retrieve critical information is to insert a tiny coded wire tag in the bony portion of a fish's snout. Similar in concept to the price code on a grocery item, a binary code etched on the wire reveals where the fish was raised and where and when it was released. Years later, when the fish is caught or its carcass found, a magnetic device can detect the coded wire tag.
90 RC7.
With a microscope, the binary code can be deciphered. The information is added to the growing database that holds the life histories of millions of tagged fish. Throughout the Northwest, biologists and technicians from federal and state agencies, from tribal and private organizations are gathering data to manage this complex fishery. In the spring, the young fish migrating downriver are briefly captured at some dams and biological information is recorded. Through snorkeling surveys, fish are counted and classified to help assess population strengths in the rivers. The migration of adult fish and the harvest by sport and commercial fishermen is also monitored. During the return migration, fish counters at the dams record each fish by species and age class. Along the streams, a creel survey records sport fishing success. The population of wild fish in some streams is also monitored. By recording the species and size of fish, biologists can tell how productive a stream is.
Coho 68.
All this information from these many surveys is helping biologists and managers better understand all the factors, both natural and man-made, that are affecting the welfare of salmon and steelhead trout. The information is helping hatchery managers time their fish releases to lessen the impact on wild fish in the stream. More effective harvest regulations, changing how dams operate, and habitat improvement are some of the steps that will increase the number of returning salmon and steelhead trout. One ironic consequence of the salmon's urge to spawn only in its birth stream is that there are other streams that are good salmon habitat that are not being fully used. On the Olympic Peninsula, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, working together with state and tribal members, have released salmon fry as a research project in an underused area. To learn how well the young salmon are doing in their new home, the fish are periodically tracked and counted. Those large enough receive a freeze brand, so when recaptured they can be identified as coming from this stream. So far, the salmon are doing well. But what will happen as they grow and need to move out to larger streams? The problem for small fish in some rivers is that there are very few places for them to escape the strong current or hide from predators. Part of the experiment on this tributary of the Queets River is to learn whether anchoring trees along the riverbanks could help young salmon survive. The technique works. A snorkeling survey reveals many small fish sheltered among the branches. While it will take several generations of returning adults before success can be declared, so far the research looks promising. Who knows? Maybe one day a productive salmon run may be re-established in this coastal river on the Olympic Peninsula. While it will take years before salmon and steelhead begin to come back in significant numbers, the good news today is that throughout the Northwest there is a new spirit and energy to work together to turn the situation around. What can an individual do? Support those organizations, both public and private, that are working to preserve the Northwest's natural legacy. Live one's own life in a way that doesn't add to the problems that fish and wildlife face. Follow Chief Seattle's counsel and cherish the splendors of the Northwest's natural world. Learn to appreciate how all things are connected in this web of life. The forests, to the streams, to the fish, to the insects, to the wildlife. As one strand begins unraveling, everything else is at risk. Salmon and steelhead are a vital strand in that web of life and are a hallmark of the quality of life in the Northwest.